Hello, hello, hello. Old guy jamming here. Today I'm going to try to repair the Celestian greenback. A couple of weeks ago I put a vintage 30 in my PV cab, so I have a greenback and a vintage 30 to run with my Mesa, and it was a really good choice. Much more musical now. However, getting this out, this cork ended up sticking to the inside of the cab. They probably painted it and then put the speakers right in. And I ended up tearing this off, and with it came the surround. But before I can do that, I think I got to clean up my bench, which sometimes, you know how it is. Sometimes it gets a little messy. It's crazy. But it's fun to see what other people have on their benches as well. This is fun. I used to do, this is from 2005, 2006, so 14 years old. I used to do this best of every year of new music I was catching out of, well, it was all overseas stuff because America was playing music I wasn't into. Master Plan, Lost Horizon, Westworld with Tony Harnell, Starbreaker, with Tony Harnell, The Battle, OSI, Office of Strategic Influence, great project, and Balance of Power was on that disc. Anyway, but you guys don't care what's out here on my bench. What you care about is this repair. I'm working on a lady's microwave in the neighborhood. Got that to take back over to her tomorrow. Trying to earn a few dollars for a Reverend Pete Anderson chambered Telecaster. I think that'd be super fun. Now, I was just looked forever, could not find a direct replacement for this greenback, so I ended up with a cloth surround from Simply Speakers. Right there. I don't want to show you my address, but they had one that I was able to match dimensionally. I've got 3 or 4 12-inch type speakers. This is going to sit about like that. So it's going to go over just about to where the old one was. Going to dip down into the cone and then over to the metal frame nicely. It should leave me enough for the cork to go ahead and sit back down on there nicely. So I'm going to use a virgin razor blade and cut all this off around just above the paper, and then I'll remove and scrape clean, and then it's just a matter of putting the other one in. The kit comes with glue and brushes and a foam sealer so that you don't tear off your cork the next time you pull this out. You can also get rubber surrounds, but rubber surrounds for vertically placed cabinets tend to over time start to wear out and sag because they're heavy, they're rubber, and so they can pull your cone out of alignment, causing some fidelity issues. Anyway, I'm going to clean up a little bit, get organized, and then you'll be part of this repair. All right, I'm back. Cleaned up the bench a little bit. This was interesting. I used this fender block, foam block, not fender block. I used this foam block to paint the Fender emblem on my Sonic 22, Super Sonic 22, and the paint ate away the foam, so where the emblem was is still there, but I thought that was interesting. All right, so I've got this cut away, went around with a nice sharp blade, switched ends halfway through, and then got up under my foam blocks and separated the foam from the cone. See how wobbly that is? So we're gonna give this a shot and see how we do. So I have this edge to clean up right here, and I'll use for that my cool scraping tool, which you probably have. And then I also need to remove whatever foam I can from these the back of these corks. Alright, so I'll tear all this extra stuff off there and clean those up. I can't scrape on them too hard, but it doesn't have to be completely flat. It just needs to be flat in general, because I'm going to glue this and then put some weight on it to press it and let it sit overnight. And we'll see how it goes. One thing I was thinking about when I was going around with this was really I had to make 3 passes to get all the way under the cork, and I just was thinking, you know, make sure you're all the way down to the metal. Once I found the right spot, this slid through pretty well, but what you would not want to do is get up into any of your cork. piece. Because then your cork's not flat when you lay it back down. All right, so I got some scraping, and then we'll start putting the glue around. It's going to be fine. All right, I've done all the scraping. I'm going to here's a tip for you. Instead of worrying too much about this side and getting all that up, just use the virgin side of these corks to go down next time and leave the paper side up. That way you don't have to worry about it being flat. So I've got my new surround upside down. I'll put a bead of glue around the inside edge. Brushes come with this as well if you want to feather that in. And then I'll put a bead around the top of, just the top of my cone, and adjust with the brush if I need to feather that in at all. And then I'm going to place it, center it, and then press it just lightly around the edge, and then go let the glue dry for an hour, and then I'll stick it to the frame. All right, I'm done gluing. You do have about 3 minutes to work this glue, 3 or 4 minutes. I was able to go twice around the suspension, the surround, and twice around the cone. Was liberal. I didn't, I wasn't too scarce with it. And then I went around and just using fingers underneath, I was able to squeeze from on top and squeeze from below inside the basket. And I made sure that a little bit of glue came out from around the surround, but I didn't squeeze so hard as to not leave a good amount in there. Then I think this is centered up pretty good. I'm happy with what's left here. I seem to have the same amount of margin all the way around, which is a good thing. So then what's next is I'll let that sit for an hour, and then I'll be putting the cork in, and I'll be turning it upside down. And check this out. That cork goes right up to the edge of my suspension, and it's going to trap the edge of this nicely against the frame. So I'll include the SKU number of this surround in the video so that you can order the same one if you ever want to repair one of your cool guitar cab speakers. All right, we'll see you back later. All right, another reveal. Hey, we get deer every once in a while, and the deer bone. I was thinking if I had a 3 or 4 point, I could slice this kind of thin on the slant and make guitar picks out of it. I wonder what that would be like. All right, weighted this. This is the box from the speaker company. Used that to hold it down, and now we've got our paper, our cloth surround, glued down all the way around. Let's get that to focus in. Come on, iPad. There you go. And anyway, it looks good. Happy with it. All the way around. It does shrink up a little bit as it cures, but that's all good. This is the cone to surround glue, and then this is the exterior. It smells like model glue. So at this point, I will put the corks on and then weight it again with that board, that box, and a weight, and that'll hold the corks down nice and tight. I'll just finish this with a bead right where the cloth joins the basket. I'll put another bead, so we got a bead on top of this all the way around, and I'll put the corks in and then squish it, and by tomorrow morning it'll be ready to throw in the cab, and we'll give it a listen. All right, good morning. Here we go with the big reveal. Take that weight off. Look at that. Just no reason in the world that shouldn't be every bit as good as it was. Although this is a cloth surround instead of the paper. But it flexes. There's no rubbing of the cone. I don't know if it's firmer or looser. We'll put it in right there, and we'll crank it up. We'll run that guy right there through it, and I'm not real impressed with the Super Crunch box. I got one at for a good deal, and I think I'm going to sell it. All right, here we go. This is the Super Crunch box. Okay, seems to work right. All right, be right back with just a couple considerations. All right, so a couple considerations. This is the ET65 speaker because the greenback's in the cabinet. It sounds great. Now, the reason I ordered the one I did was because I was hoping to match the profile of this existing surround. And the thinking was, since I had only torn a section here, the thinking was that if I could find one with the exact profile, that I could just cut a piece and patch it in there, cut it large so that it covered the rip. And then since you're just gluing stuff anyway, I thought, well, if I can find the one that matches this profile, no reason to not just replace the damaged part and leave the rest intact. But I couldn't do that. So my measurements were all based on trying to match this internal suspension, this hump here. And it didn't necessarily work out. So if I were to do this again, I would select a different surround, one that had a larger overall diameter. There's one that has an 11.5 inch overall diameter, and that's what you end up pushing through when you mount these things. There's some paper overlay in those holes, and that's just the extra large surround that goes all the way out to the edges of the basket. Otherwise, super easy, really a piece of cake to do this. Another consideration is to have a wet towel handy so you can dab your fingers off, especially when using this glue. It's water soluble, and it's nice when you're trying to make a good edge to have a clean, wet towel to get your fingers clean. And then other than that, when you're making your cuts and when you're applying your glue, treat your speaker like a cake, like it's on a cake table, and do your cutting with your hand resting on the edge of the basket so you have a nice line. And then rotate the darn speaker rather than trying to cut here, cut here, cut here. Keep rotating this. Especially helpful when you start applying the glue. Allow the glue to rest on the edge of the basket, and using your finger there, keeping the flow constant. Of course, these would be off, but you put your finger on the edge of the basket and then just turn the speaker, and it allows you to put it out very much like a machine. Put the glue out just like a machine, where you get a really nice, even deposit of glue. And then really, it couldn't be easier. I'm pretty stoked. Worked out fine. All right, so there you have it. It's an expensive greenback, but I have an extra one that I can use on another speaker should I ever use it. I'll box this back up, put it in the
garage somewhere safe. And who's to say, though, if the glue will be good anytime I need to use this again. It's not likely the glue will even be good. But we'll see. All right, have a good one.